have my small brush and I'm going to start in the area of his ear, the inner ear here. So I'm putting in just a little water, and I kind of rub at the edge here. So I've got it full of water. I'll grab my sienna. So you could use your burnt umber just very lightly if that's what you're using. I'm putting a little of this color in, and then I'm going to come into a darker color. So you could use phthalo turquoise or whatever purple color, whatever color you used within your sky. I'm going to grab a little mix of the amethyst and a tad bit of the mauve. And I'm just going to apply that right into this inner part of his ear just for some shadow. It's light though, so we don't want to make it too dark. And the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to put some water in here, rub at the edge a little, drop in a little color. Okay. So now I'm going to add a little more shading and shadow to his ears. So I'm grabbing some more color. And remember how I said the ears come down a little further than his top of his head? So I'm bringing that down a little bit, adding another layer of color right on top of what I already have. Rinse off, dab, and then blend this downwards. So I keep dabbing my brush off and pulling that color into the shading that's already there. Same thing on this side. So pulling that down a little farther, giving him some more color in his ears. Rinse, dab, and pull this color. And then I'm going to give him that little brow line here too. So it's almost like an arc here. Very little color on my brush, and a lot of this part can be kind of tedious and you're really doing it in the moment. It's almost like I'm molding his face. So you can see how I'm bringing color down on the side of, on the bridge here of his snout. Because this area of his face is coming out, so I need for there to be some sort of shadow on the side of it to kind of make that center part pronounced. And the same thing around the edge here. So these areas back here are going to be a little darker. So we're going to start to kind of mold these areas as well. Remembering that this section here is the lightest. And this is typically how I do it. So I lay in that darker color, rinse, dab, and then pull out those edges to blend them. So that's looking good. So now I want to work on the area here around his eyes. So you can see from this one, the eyes are set back in the head, so we need to have some shadow area around the eyes to really make them look like they're set back. So first I'm going to go with my darker sienna color or your umber and start to mold that space there. So it's the area right under his brow, right around his snout, and just under the eye as well. I put in the darker rinse dab and lightly pull these edges out. Now I'm going to come in with some of my darker color. So I'm going to grab some of my amethyst, a little mauve. And I don't want very much of this. I don't want it to be so dark, but I do want it to be in shadow, so we got to give him some makeup. So once again, I lay in that color, rinse, dab, and work that shadow color into fading. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, he is looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and do his nose. So I'm going to grab my Moon Glow. This just happens to be the darkest color that I have on my palette, but you could use indigo, black, even dark brown would work for this. So his nose is going to be more shadow on the bottom edge here. So I go ahead and do the bottom edge with my first strokes. That's going to be my most concentrated color, or my first strokes. Rinse, dab, and pull that color up to the top so that you're always kind of shaping and molding. So I don't just paint things in. I'm always considering where the light and the shadow is. Okay, got his little nose in. So I'm going to grab some more of my Moon Glow. I'm using a very tiny brush, and I'm going right on the top of this eye. So it's almost like I'm giving him eyeliner. And my surface here is still slightly damp. It doesn't have to be. If yours is already dry, that's okay too. But I need to give him that top brow there. Pull it a little down into the outside corners. Now we'll let everything dry and we'll work on his eyes.